Buonasera a tutti, piccoli accorgimenti prima di invitare l'ospite. Buonasera. Allora, questa sera avremo con noi io lo adoro, è un illustratore uomo. Invite. Nette, Rodrigo, ci sei? Rodri! Good, how are
Hello,
you? Can
Benedetta.
you
How are
hear
you?
me?
Perfectly. I mean, I
Yes,
don't
I
know if you
can.
can hear me.
All good?
Okay. Okay.
Good, good,
All
good.
good, all
Thank
good.
you
And
so
you?
much for being here tonight.
Thank you. Thank
No,
you for
I'm very,
having me
very
here.
excited actually because you're a first. We usually, we interviewed a lot of like sartorial realities, and the why I wanted to introduce you is because you start from a totally different reality, but it is very sartorial what you do, and you actually were able to make it work even in the sartorial world. So I want you to get your introduction right now for the people who are following us. Let them know, sorry, who you are, and then we're gonna start from there.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm a Spanish guy, a basic Spanish guy. I always say. Well, I am illustrator, or I can say that I am
Yes.
illustrator and tailor. I studied bespoke tailoring and also different kind of arts like interior design. So for that reason, you can see um, the illustration and the sartorial
Exactly.
part are mixed uh, because I have the both
But where
studies.
where everything
Um,
started? Where and when?
where you mean? Well, when I
Okay.
think when I was a child, not the fashion world, but of course I was. Well, I have many pictures from my father and mother drawing when I was a child. But of course, when I was studying interior design, I realized that I really want to be connected with the illustration or the drawing part. Later on, I went to the fashion industry, so I mixed it
And
through the
was it
illustration.
from the start
Uh,
very connected to style, or it just started to be after?
that style I was I was inspired by Tintin. I read a lot
Yeah, I
the
know.
Tintin comics by Gay. So I remember those days when I was a child reading and reading many books from Gay, and I think I developed that
Okay.
style from him. Of course, many others illustration, especially from the Netherlands or some people from New York I have been following. They gave me that kind of
Mm-hmm.
different point of style. But of course, my style I think is special and unique in the way of mixing the sartorial
Yes.
part and the illustrations, because of course we know a lot of illustrators, but maybe
On
not
men's
focus
style.
on or specialized on
Yes.
main style exactly. I remember when I was starting drawing, I saw a lot of fashion drawings or fashion illustration more for women's
Very
wear
true.
than menswear. And yeah, and well, years ago, I mean, in the 60s, maybe 70s, I remember the
No, no worries.
advertising.
It's
Sorry for my
perfect. We
English,
can
eh?
understand.
I remember those kind of advertising showing that kind of white pants or the jackets
Yeah.
even with the price next to the illustrations. So I was thinking, why not we can make like or I can make like that kind of
Focusing on
modern
men.
illustrations with the
So
exactly
you're
focusing on
illustrating.
men. So I don't
Yeah,
know if I answer your
absolutely.
question.
There is
Maybe
no
not,
right
but
or wrong like answer, so no worries. About your illustrations, they are like a perfect synthesis of like very vintagey kind of style, and also connected to a very specific irony that you put into it, and they classify themselves, and you can totally see that there is your imprint because you chose to reflect all your drawings without faces. Would you like to kind of get into that and explain to us why that choice?
Yeah. Well, when I was a child, I remember. Well, my father draws a lot and very well
Oh,
in a realistic
so
way,
he's an artist
and
as
I
well.
remember. Yeah, I remember. Well, he is, but
Okay.
his profession is not an artist. So, but of course, thanks to him because I really I love
Mm-hmm. Of
this
course.
world because of him. And I remember watching him drawing, and of course,
Mm-hmm.
I tried to copy him. And I remember the moment when I had like a face or like a body draw it. And I remember the time or exactly the moment that I had to draw the eyes and the mouth. I was afraid about that because, of course, I was thinking like if I make the eyes well, I have the draw to save, or I can put the draw on the wall. If not, I need
So it
to throw
wasn't.
away. So I was. It's not for that because later on I remember when I was drawing in the fashion when I was starting with the fashion illustration. I really want to be focused on the clothes, not on the face. For me, the style of the people now of the men, of course, the face can help you or can help the style, but the clothes, the way of moving, the
That is
body,
actually,
the
yes.
trousers, the jackets gives you the style. So uh, I remember those days, and I said, okay, I'm gonna delete and hide the eyes and the mouth because I really want to develop my own style without
Mm-hmm.
any of those things. And nowadays, I think, to be honest, I never
So,
draw any eyes or mouth. And
oh,
some
they do.
client asked me, some client asked me like, okay, could you do the mouth and the eyes? And I said, I'm really sorry, but my style is like that, and is like
I
it's
had
part
to
of
be
my
honest. First
illustration,
thing
so
comes
are
to
part of my
mind
illustration.
is like when you don't see the faces, it's like thinking about, okay, he really wants to focus just on the clothing. But then I understood that it's also a little bit more practical.
I am, of course, I am practical, but of course, for me, the important part of the illustration, and I want to show, or the part I want to show in on the illustration are the clothes and
Of
the
course.
way of moving of the body, or the yeah, I think the acting of the man or woman, but
And you do
mostly the man.
have like a very unique kind of like clientele, right? So I think in your names you can list lots of very, very famous brands like from Bottega Dalmut to Cucinelli to Ghiaia Cashmere to Fratelli Italia di Delfino to Giulia Heritage. I mean, there is a lot of names that you could go very long to list them. How did you get connected to them, and like what was the connection with them, and like how can you actually reflect what they want to reflect about their target clientele to the drawings?
Well, everything was from Instagram. I mean, my
Mm-hmm.
portfolio is on Instagram, and I remember when I was starting the
Mm-hmm.
application, or the tool was starting, and I remember, well, I my first job, well, or project for the illustration was a book in New
So
York through
everything
Instagram. So I
that is
everything was on Instagram. The
because
connection
I
and
mean
everything,
you
yeah,
really
it's
can,
crazy. It's
you
crazy.
have big names on your portfolio, so it's quite impressive if you did everything by Instagram without no marketing whatsoever.
Exactly, exactly. The thing is, of course, uh, the brands who approach me, they we have
Mm-hmm.
like a more formal connection or more formal meetings. But the first impact was from Instagram because the people really like the way I am
Mm-hmm.
illustrated men or fashion. And in my opinion, the most important part for them is the eye of the detail I have. It means, of course, we need to try to show to their customers every detail they are working on it. Because, for example, if we put the Cucinelli example, who is for me the easiest because it's famous, a famous brand. They are working too much on each detail, on each clothes or on each garment. So if I don't show that,
of course,
it's not a luxury. So I try to help them in my creative way to show those kind of details, like the shoulder, if it's rope, if it's Napolitan shoulder, the curve of the lapel, the proportion
so
of the
it's
jacket.
it's like tailoring.
I think that's my
it's the same thing. It's all
part.
about details.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true.
But
exactly.
where the irony comes from, like the irony that you put into your illustrations, it's not something that you really usually see on.
Well, yeah. To be honest, I don't know. I mean, I can be watching some people walking in the street, and I can save for the next illustration a man taking a coffee, an old man reading a newspaper, or I don't know. I remember when I was living in Amsterdam, just a guy biking with the scarf.
So everything that inspired from the outside.
Yeah, of course, I read a lot about fashion, especially on fashion. I am watching a lot of pictures from the past, like 30s, 40s, those kind of icons. I am inspired by the vintage football because I'm a football fan. I really love football, and I remember those days when I was I don't know, 14, 13. That kind of 90s football I really love, especially the calcio, because I remember that kind of years. The Italian football was amazing. So I mean, I don't have any. I have a lot of how can I say, a lot of things to be inspired by.
So if you would describe your style, how would you describe it to people? Besides luxury, I mean, it's for sure like a high pro. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, my style technically it's called
what is called? Sorry.
Is like is ligne clair. To be honest, I don't know French, but I suppose I need to say like that. It's from Netherlands, Belgium. That style it came from Merguez. He's the most famous guy from that style. But the thing is, they have different kind of. Technically, they have just they don't have shadows. I put shadows, and they don't have that kind of.
Oh, so you're speaking about the illustration style, of course. Okay. No, we're speaking about illustration, so that makes sense. But I was also referring to, because I think you also reflect your style into your illustrations. No matter if you're retracting someone, you really put a lot of yourself into it. So that's why I was wondering, like, if your personal style, how would you describe it? How would you describe your personal style to someone?
I don't know. I think rare or weird.
Well, as you said before, you are very inspired by the vintage, like the 30s.
I think it's that. I mean, it's the same speech from my illustration. I really love the sartorial clothes, but of course with a little bit
contemporary,
a little touch of crazy thing. Yeah, contemporary, exactly. I mean, I really love those kind of vintage clothes because, in my opinion, the way the humanity were working years ago was much better than now. So those kind of clothes, especially on the fashion industry, those kind of clothes I really love. And also that kind of mixing tailor part with sport clothes.
So very versatile.
I mean, I don't have, I mean, yeah, exactly. I don't, some days maybe I am in a total black look with a vintage suit from 40s. and the next day maybe I'm in a total white with sneakers and more Scandinavian color palette. I don't have that kind of style or
well, I think you
style.
can define it a little bit, because again, you can really feel it also in the illustrations. That is also actually why I want to ask you, like, when you draw, there is I'm sure there is a storytelling behind every illustration. Where do you start from? Like, what is your storytelling? It's something that you keep for each illustration different, or you follow like a guideline?
Well, I try to. Well, my storytelling is always the same. Is, of course, if some project has a different storytelling, we need to develop that. But I really want to show a daily action. I mean, no, I always imagine the character or the illustration. Imagine if we put an example of one man. He's walking through the street and he stop and he see our camera. I mean, just to
very
catch
realistic
the moment. And he's like, yeah, but they are like, I wanted to show, or I want to show, like they are with that kind of face, like, what are you doing? Because I need to walk through, well, I need to go to the work. And in that moment, I try to catch and show through the illustration. So the storytelling is, I mean, there is no storytelling. It's just,
but well, that is a storytelling. So you just retract like daily life. So that's actually
daily life. And also I want to show my vision of how I can
what
imagine
a luxury profile is supposed to be on a regular base, right? Kind of.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Kind of.
No, you can go ahead and explain it further.
No, I mean, for example, I always put an when I always make an illustration. This is not my storytelling, but maybe my steps. I always make an illustration inspired by something. Maybe it's a jacket. I want to put that jacket, or maybe it's just a thought that I had, or something like that. Even a picture that I saw. The thing is, when I finish that illustration, I really want to imagine what is the name of that guy, the position of that guy, and the city who he is living. But the thing is, I want what I always do when I finish the illustration, not before. Why? Because if I do, in my opinion, if I do before, I think before is after. Yeah, you see my English. If I make that thought before, I will be how can I say, I will be with a
of
limit
course.
to develop that illustration.
So you want to be absolutely,
you know, so I want to be free to
of
develop
course.
that illustration.
So actually I think we are very connected somehow, because let's say to people that we worked together at the very beginning of BMEN, when BMEN was even, like from zero. And I felt from the beginning how connected we could be, and we actually are, I think. As I think what you do with illustration is kind of what I do with clients, because you dress them and you, as you said, you look to their lifestyle, to where they are living, and in a very different way, but it's a very intimate relationship, I think, even if it's just a commission of a drawing. And what is the common part of it is like the matching colors, which is a very, very important topic for every style consultancy. And I think also in drawing, of course, especially for your illustrations. What kind of relationship do you have with color, and like how do you approach to it? How do you match colors in the illustration? How does it start?
Well, To be honest, I think I start.
Really?
I
Like
never think about it.
planned?
Really, no. I mean, I think it's natural. The matching of colors. I usually start from. Imagine I'm gonna do the exercise. I usually start
Mm-hmm.
from a white color, and then you will combine
Okay.
everything with that white. Uh, Most of the colors I use are like a nude colors. I mean, I don't really like those kind of
Yeah,
strong color.
because
You will see some illustrations with a touch of powerful red or powerful
mm-hmm.
blue, but most of them I am using
Mute.
those kind of soft color because for me are more beautiful. Not beautiful, but maybe more how can I say comfortable for my eye. So I don't know how can I start developing that kind of
Mm-hmm.
exercise with my colors, but of course my illustration can reflect my
Yeah, of
own
course.
style. So sometimes, yeah. For example, to be honest, I always say the same. As a Spanish people, I remember I
Seriously?
hated the black color, hated completely. Really, I I was
That's good.
living
That's
with
a
no black,
good thing.
and like the
A
black
no
color
no.
was exactly no was no. And I remember when I went to Amsterdam and I lived there for years, especially there in the north of Europe, they are
Yeah.
using a lot of black tones. Um, so I remember, of course, my eye was trying to
You
understand that kind of
don't
black
get
color.
it.
And nowadays, I really use
You
no, I really
do?
use black color a lot. Why? Because yeah, I am doing not every day, but I am doing so. It means my illustration style
Well, yeah, I think we all,
changes
yeah,
because of that.
it's a progress, right? It's a work in progress.
So if you see my illustration from I don't know 2017 or 16, my style was
Yeah, of
different because of
course.
my style of clothes. So now with 32 years old, I think it's completely different, stronger, of course, than when I was younger. But
It's a work in progress. We all learn
so
from our last, past. It's not a mistake. It's just like different tastes, and we just evolve. That's life. I want to ask you something. Talking about gentleman and men lifestyle. How do you define a gentleman, and how do you reflect it into your illustrations? Do you think each individual that you illustrate can actually go in within this term, or what's your definition for gentleman?
for me, the gentleman is the people who can be, how can I say in English? Sorry, who can be perfectly
Kind? Yeah.
with another, yeah, in a kind of way, who knows how can be seated
yeah.
on a dinner, on a chair, of course, but it's not because of the style of the clothes. I think the people said, gentleman, it should wear, he should wear a tie or a jacket or
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like a formal trouser. But for me,
The
be
way
a
you
gentleman
act.
is more than the clothes. Exactly, exactly. So you can be, well, you should be natural the way you when you are acting or when you are living, of course, but be yourself. I mean, if you don't like tie, you can be a gentleman
Yeah,
without
of
tie,
course.
even without a jacket.
Amen,
But
Rodrigo.
nowadays,
Amen.
the people wants to be. For me, but it's my
Well, I
opinion. I
think
mean,
interviewing so far, it seems like it's a common opinion, but unfortunately, not everyone that says it, that says this statement, reflect what they're saying. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like sometimes you just say it, but you don't really act like it is. So
you say, but because you don't trust on it, on you are not. It's not.
yeah, it's not
It's not
trust. It's
trust.
more
It's like,
like
well.
hypocrisy, maybe sometime, because you say something that you actually are not. But it's something that I'm experiencing like very recently. So that's why I'm doing this statement now. I wouldn't do that in the previous interviews, but some gentlemen, as they think to be or say to be and define a gentleman the way you did today, it's not really, but it's okay. It's, I mean, the
Yeah.
world is full of like different people, and that's why it's beautiful. So I wanted to talk to you today also because we actually anticipated before that from an illustrator nowadays you became a tailor yourself. I think there is a lot of persistence in what you are becoming, because I could tell from the beginning how passionate you were about tailoring once we were starting to work together. How did the process went? Like, how did you work, and like, how did you really started to have the idea of becoming a tailor yourself, just drawing illustrations about men's style?
Okay, well, the rules were opposite. I mean, I started to be a tailor. Well, to be, I mean, yeah, I studied bespoke
Okay.
tailoring in Madrid when I was, to be honest, I'm not too good with the age. When I was 20, 25, 26, I went, I went to Madrid to study bespoke tailoring. In the meantime, I was working for different
As
brands,
a
luxury brands in
tailor.
Madrid, as a personal tailor. Yeah, as a made-to-measure tailor, because I really want to say that for me, we have two different kind of tailors: the
Mm-hmm.
bespoke tailor, the master tailors, and
Yeah,
the
exactly.
made-to-measure tailor,
Yeah,
which are completely different. The people,
yeah.
as you know,
I
I am
hope
a made-to-measure
I
tailor,
hope we
which is
clarified that
nice
so far.
because for me,
Bespoke and made to measure.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. I studied bespoke tailoring. I remember those days was it 1 year in Madrid is the only bespoke school in Spain for this, because of course
Mm-hmm.
Spain has a nice tailors, but maybe we need to develop more the
I
school
think that's
of
everywhere,
that
but
kind of
yes,
art.
it's a common problem.
Well, I don't know in Italy. I don't know in Italy, but or in England, but in Spain for sure, we need to develop that. But of course, we have a lot of nice tailors. So when I was study that, um, I used to draw, I used to illustrate my ideas just for fun
Okay.
in the same time, just for fun, because of course I read it a lot, and I saw a lot of pictures, and I wanted to put on a paper, yeah, the ideas
So were you
have on my mind.
go
And
ahead.
Maria, my sorry, and Maria, my girlfriend told me, why you don't start drawing, and maybe you will have like your portfolio for
Okay.
you, just for you. And I remember opening an Instagram account and
And it was
posting
gone
the
boom.
illustration, and yeah, the no, and the followers were coming. Suddenly one guy told me, okay, what about if I pay you and you make an illustration?
Oh
And I
my
said, okay, why not,
god.
and yeah, and I remember those days I was working and drawing. I don't know, I woke up at 5 a.m. just to
Yeah.
draw, because I need to work uh
It's a
by the
surprise
store.
for me.
And
I thought it was all the
so
way around.
yeah, yeah. So the first part was the tailor part, and not
So
later.
you kind
It
of
was
like
the same time.
put the tailor
The
on a
illustration.
side and taking over the illustrations, and then
Yeah, when I was in Madrid, I went for a project, a luxury project. They wanted to relaunch a brand in Madrid, but finally we couldn't work on it because the
okay.
because of the money part, of the financial part. So we went to
Mm-hmm.
Amsterdam with Maria, my girlfriend. We went to
Industry.
Amsterdam. She's also in the retail industry. Now is my partner.
How is that going?
Um, so yeah. So in Amsterdam, I was just drawing. when I went there, I used to work for a famous British company for a tailor part in Amsterdam. It was a flagship store. I was working there just to try to develop my English because I had no English. Nowadays,
No,
my
it
English is
is
not good.
good. You just
Imagine
too
4 years
harsh on
ago.
yourself.
So, so yeah, I went to a store
Practice.
just to talk, yeah, and practice and talk with customers because I had experience from Spain. The thing, of course, I
Okay.
didn't have the experience in English,
So
but of course,
you wanted to
daily
be connected with
I
everyone, with your
exactly
clients, and be able to speak with them like
exactly.
smoothly and fluently.
Exactly. But in the same time, I was drawing and I had some projects with
Okay.
it's like I had two jobs, one for the
And
customers and the other
did you
for the
have a
illustration
preference
customers. So,
anyhow for?
well, of course, the illustrations in that
Oh, the
moment was from
illustration
my heart.
part.
I mean, yeah, of course, because when you are working
It
for a
is not.
different company,
It's not the
I
same.
always say the
Yeah.
same. It's not your dream.
It was your
And the
baby.
illustration was my dream. So exactly. So in that moment, my preference was the illustration, but of course I needed to work in stores just to practice English. Because if I am drawing, if I was drawing by home, I couldn't speak
Well,
with nobody.
that's true.
So was was not difficult because I really enjoyed that moment. Later on with the COVID, of course, Netherlands were in a lockdown, or everywhere were in a lockdown, and I lost that job
Okay.
because of the contract, as many people, and I really was focused on the illustration. In
It
that
was
moment, the
booming.
illustration
Yeah.
business was booming. Why? Because a lot of people, a lot of clients or potential clients, they started or they were looking their website, their portfolios, their social media, and they wanted to develop
Yeah, of
in a
course.
different way, more creative,
Visual.
with more human sense, a visual, exactly, creative visual pictures. So in that moment, I was I was really happy with that. For me, the COVID in
The pandemic.
when I say
Yeah.
the COVID, the pandemic was good for my business. Of course, we
That's a
were at
great.
home, but a lot of
I
people
mean,
wanted to develop.
it's a
I
job that
mean,
can.
speaking about business, of course,
Well,
not about
it's a
the
very
illness
visual
in the
job.
work.
So if you have time to kind of be there in the moment and look at, I mean, it's also really inspirational because again, as your storytelling is like a regular lifestyle, I think people, especially during the pandemic, were kind of dreaming like of being out and it's kind of what you were drawing. So it's kind of like
It's a nice
exactly.
thought. I never thought about that, but it's
Exactly.
a nice
So
thought. Yeah. So and in that moment I was happy with that, and so some part of my life I was living by Taylor part and the other part by the
do
illustration,
you
and now I
think
am mixing
that
that.
starting from a
So
tailor experience is the why your illustrations are more oriented on a luxury lifestyle? Yes, of course.
of course yes, of course yes, yeah, um, because I really
And how
know
important the
how are the
details are.
jobs. I mean, the details, exactly. The details, even the stitch of the lapel, or even the silhouette, the body proportion. So for me, that's my best point
Yeah,
of
details.
illustration. For that reason, I think you can see many pieces from my illustration, like a famous basketball players or tennis players, football players, or famous actors wearing a jacket or wearing some sartorial pieces, because I really wanted to mix
Your activity
my
with your passion.
yeah, my activities and my passions with the
And how
with
is
the
that
tailor
going
part.
now that
So
you kind of took the tailor part, you kind of like got into it even more, and it's kind of being your life now, right? It takes a lot of your time. How is now to connect these two realities that are so alive, each of them?
well, it's a difficult because of the time, but of course my support is Maria. I have to say
I want to
that,
meet her next
and
time. I
that
want to
she's
speak with her
running a lot
too.
of things. Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. The thing is, for example, I want to stop and think, and now I
And
don't have
think.
too many time to stop and think new ideas. Just be watching a man, watching the newspaper, and I don't have that time that I had in Amsterdam. I remember in Amsterdam I was maybe looking
So
at the
maybe
window, I don't know,
illustration.
30 minutes
So maybe
just to
illustration
find something.
kind of got the worst part of you in this process. Is like taking you aside from it.
Well, I cannot say worst, but of course, some it is depending on the week. Nowadays, for example, April and May, with a lot of weddings, a lot of formal events, the people wants to be
Yeah, of course.
more well dressed. So nowadays, my agenda
So
is
it
more
depends
for
from the timing.
the tailor business, exactly. And nowadays, for example, with the PT woman the next week, I am drawing a lot for different events or different
We had to meet there.
clients. I mean, I really, yeah, of course, of course. The thing is, I really enjoy my life. Maybe the next week I'll be drawing a lot and not tailor shop, and the next one maybe just be with client on the studio store and no draw. So it's important mix. Well, it's an important mix, but of course, I think I need to be focused cleverly, just to don't lose the ideas from the illustration and the ideas from the other business. But I have to say again,
Balance.
Maria is my
That's you're lucky.
balance. Exactly.
It's not granted.
I am.
Do you want to talk to us about, like, now that you're taking a lot of time also to do the tailor part, which I hope we're gonna be able to talk to you with your tailor profile next time. Do you want to talk to us about, like, what's your signature suit? Like, what are the characteristics of that?
Well,
like,
okay,
every tailors have some signature in it, and I'm sure, speaking about 30s, 20s, 40s, you get something from it.
I really love the how can I say, those kind of classic suit or clothes, like longer,
Okay.
a little bit wider, more comfy. So that's, if I have to say, that's the signature
Momos
of Momos.
Tailor.
Momos is the name of the company. Momos Tailors, yeah, is that. But of course, we need to understand because we are starting, and I want to be honest with you. I mean, when I was starting with the illustration, I had the same mindset. It's like when we are starting, we need to, of course, develop our signature or our style, but think that the customer maybe wants to have something different. Yeah, not completely opposite, but something different. So we need to give them and give us those kind of small details. But that one is our signature. We are gonna develop some collection with that kind of pattern. We are developing our pattern for collection, because we really love those kind of unisex silhouettes, those kind of 40 silhouettes. So we are gonna go
baby steps.
Step by step.
as for every business who just starts, like barely starts. Even me, BMEN it's a fresh start. You know that. Do you find a difference between a luxury client? Hold on, a foreigner luxury client than a European luxury client, from the approach that they have, from
Well,
the taste that they have, from like, what do you find different between a European rather than an international client, in terms of style, in terms of lifestyle, in
uh,
terms of colors, in terms of, like, you tell me.
often, well, when one customer approach me, I usually try to understand them. Of course, if he's a
Mm-hmm.
personal client, um, I need to speak a little bit with him or with her. If it's a company, we need to have some meetings just to
The
understand
brand
each other
identity.
about well, those terms you told me exactly, the brand identity. Because of course I need to say that, and it's like of course I have my own style, but my style needs to be mixed with the brand identity. Otherwise the company will say like, okay, I love your illustration but are not for my company. So I try to, not with the illustration, because my
Mhm,
illustration are
exactly, because
exactly
you
the
have a
same
strong
for
brand identity.
every company, but maybe exactly, but maybe with the creativity part, with the maybe the other
Like
detail mixed with
backgrounds and,
illustration, and I maybe the
yeah.
font, even the font or even the colors for the font. For me, it's important. Why? Because when I was studying interior design, really um, I
Mm-hmm.
really learned about, well, some tips or some
Like
just a year about graphic design. So that kind of points are
proportions
important for me.
with depth.
I try to see their website, their social media, just to
Yes, you
I agree
did.
with you
And
with
go
the
check it
business.
out,
So
everyone.
so yeah. So for me it's important, and I think it's more attractive for
Client.
the potential client if I, yeah, if I give them my illustration with their logo or their palette color or something from there with my
Do you
illustration,
think
okay,
the
with my
relationship with
illustration.
color, with the illustration, is the same thing that you, I mean, you had the same relationship with color even in the tailor experience that you are experiencing?
Well, I, of course, I'm trying. When I say I'm trying, I am developing that kind of clothes
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of colors, the same as my illustration. But I mean, I think everything goes for the same sentence. I said you, and it's like my style, or my illustration style is depending on my
Yeah.
own style or
So
own
it
clothes
reflects the
style. So
same relationship that you have with color for the illustration as well.
yeah, yeah,
What, if
yeah.
someone would pay you to do an illustration from without feedback, without without limitations,
With
what
nothing,
would you? Yeah,
like
a
a
white
white canvas.
canvas. What would you retract? What would you do? Boom.
To be now, I don't know
too
that
too
question now
broad.
because
Okay.
I need to think about it. Um, well, most of the illustration on my Instagram uh, are when I say are free, it's like because are coming from my
Mm-hmm.
mind, from my ideas. Of course, you can see some projects, but most of them are from my ideas. So to be honest, I don't know, but I really enjoy the moment that I want to
Mm-hmm.
develop a new illustration with a white paper, drafting on a paper. Then I work with a
Yeah.
graphic
Yeah.
tablet,
It's
I think
okay.
I can say in English. Yeah. So it's a digital illustration, but of course the first draft is on a paper just to extract ideas, maybe what kind of glasses, what kind of position, what kind of shoes, what kind of hair, if he has a beard or not. So I try to do that. Of course, later when
A
I am
lot.
drawing, maybe I change the whole draft. But I don't know why I am saying
It's
that.
okay.
I lost
Have
my
you have you
thinking.
illustrated something that is connected to Momo's tailor so far? Not yet.
Not yet, not yet. I I'm trying to, or we are trying, Maria and myself, we are
Mm-hmm.
trying to mix both worlds, but in a slowly way, because we wanted to develop our business without the
So it is
illustrator
in it.
part, because then we will see if the we want to do like an honest business. It means if I mean we don't want to say like, okay, Rodrigo
Mm-hmm.
create a new brand, Rodrigo the illustrator create a
Two
new brand. No,
separate
no, we
things.
want to show our brand, and then exactly, and then the people will say like, ah, wow, it's Rodrigo from the
Do you
illustration.
think it
But
will be?
is for that reason we are
But
not
do
trying
you
to
think it
mix
will
it.
be more
No,
difficult for you to reflect your own brand on paper?
maybe, maybe, maybe it's more difficult because I think I have more pressure on myself,
Or
because
like just
it's
maybe
like that's
confuse
up to me.
the like maybe not really being loyal to the Momo Taylor brand identity once you put it on paper.
I always say the same with the Momo's Taylor's brand identity. We have, of course, a
Mm-hmm.
brand identity defined, but as every brands, when they
Mm-hmm.
are hire me for some action, I am like in a I don't know if it's correct, but in like in a punctual
Mm-hmm.
moment on their life,
In a
on
specific
their
moment.
business life.
Mm-hmm.
So for sure, in a specific moment, exactly, yeah. So we will do the same with Momos, maybe even for a lookbook, maybe for an action, maybe for a social media. But of course, Momos is like a child. Momos has to develop their own style, and of course, Rodrigo will work for Momos in a few
Mm-hmm.
moments or in some specific moments. But I don't want to mix it. Maybe I am wrong, or we are wrong, but
To
nowadays
not
we are
mix it.
thinking that to not mix it
And
daily. I mean, or not. Because of course in my Instagram page
oh, those
I
are
didn't
very,
post a
very
lot about
distinctive
Momos.
realities, yes.
Yeah, so I wanted to
What is the
make it
plan
separate.
for Rodrigo Saldana, illustrator, and what is the plan for Momo's Taylor in the next 5 years? But
Poof. I
I,
always say the same.
you
I don't
don't?
like that kind of question.
I mean,
Of course,
I'm
they
pretty
are
sure you planned
necessary,
around
but
it
um,
at all.
no, to be honest, no. No, 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 because if I always say this, of course, we need to have a plan, but if I have a plan, maybe I am that kind of people who are
Mm-hmm.
like with limits and living with limits, and I don't want to. If I say I had to do this before 5 years, maybe I will be
So you
stressful
just go
with
with
that
the
idea,
flow.
and I don't want to, because of course, not like that. I am thinking like, of course, I hope, and I am really sure Momos will have
Mm-hmm.
an amazing collection, and Rodrigo Saldana Illustrations will work a lot for a different companies like nowadays. But I don't
Make
want to
plans.
say something close or make plans
Well, that's a
for a
long
5 years. To be honest, I don't know
tomorrow.
what will be our holiday trip this summer. So
Do you think Rodrigo Saldana Illustrator is ever going to get into the art gallery exhibition mood? Like, would you ever do like an exhibition somewhere in Amsterdam, in Spain?
I will. I am planning that. Of course, it needs a lot of work, a lot of
Yeah.
time, because of course I need to plan like a collection. I need to plan like a story. I'm working as well in a
Like
book.
writing a book? Like
So
seriously?
yeah, I am running a book, but of
That is
course,
brand new
you
breaking
see,
news.
two business plus a book plus a gallery, it will be too difficult. So step by step, I am
Can I
working
ask
on
what
a
it's
book.
about?
But of course,
It's all about illustration
illustration.
and tailors.
But I'm trying to, and tailors, of course, and
Okay,
I will. I don't
okay.
want to say something
Breaking news, breaking news.
before, yeah, but it will be for from the illustrator part. But of course, I'm more than happy, and I'm for sure I'm sure that I will make like a presentation in an art gallery in a different way. But the thing is, when I
Mm-hmm.
propose myself to do something, I wanted to do in a perfect way, of course,
Yeah, of
with my
course.
opinion of perfect. But I don't want to put like
Let's
some
do
illustration on a
this.
wall and I say, okay, this is an art
So
gallery.
you're very
No, for me, it's not.
perfectionist.
I wanted to go for a, yeah, but sometimes it's a mistake because I am perfectionist, and in that moment I say, okay, I don't want to do
Mm-hmm.
because it's not perfect, and
Yeah,
maybe it's
I
good
get
for
it.
some people, some
I
clients,
get
but
it.
not for me. So I want to sleep calm, but that's a, for me is a mistake. But of course, I am trying to
Do
develop
you believe
that
that
mistake.
any of the world that you're living, like, or the illustration or the Mamo tailors, at someday, at some point, is gonna have less attention than the other, or you're gonna keep going and try your best to keep both at the same level?
Well, for sure, that question we had on mind, but I always say the same to Maria. Maria told me like your
Mm-hmm.
illustration are part of you, so you will die with your illustration. I
So that's
never
your
stop
imprint, and everything else comes around.
with maybe 1 year I will do
I don't
less
think so.
illustration, maybe, but I don't think so. I don't think so either. But the thing is, I'm more than happy to
Mm-hmm.
have Maria, my partner, because she knows a lot about retail. She knows a lot about even tailoring because she studied
Oh
at
wow,
London, pattern maker. So she had the knowledge. But of course, maybe some days
path are
our
going to.
road it will be a little bit more separate, just to be focused on the both business. Because for me, I always say the same. My illustration are from my part,
Of
but it's also
course.
part of Maria because she helped me a lot. So the people who support the creative people for me are more
Mm-hmm.
creative than the creative people. It's not easy to wake up with a creative people with
Very
some
true.
crazy ideas and bad days and
Very
great
true.
days, so that question you told me about the time we spend in a different business, of course will be different in 1 year. But if it's different, it's because we are
Of
making the
course.
things properly, and the business of Momos is
That's
successful.
good because it's very recent, right? It's how many?
Yeah, it's from September,
Very
from the last
recent,
October, and we are more than happy. We didn't expect that, and we don't have
and
even
it's
the
still
website. We are
going.
developing the website. We are developing the
It's
collection, and it's
crazy.
still going. And our studio store is in
Mm-hmm.
Alicante, it's a small city in the Mediterranean coast. Of course, we have some clients in Madrid,
Mm-hmm.
Barcelona, the north of Spain. We are trying to make frank shows, um, but we are more than happy, and we didn't expect that kind of
Mm-hmm.
a lot of that kind of numbers
So
in terms of
I tell
customers.
you two things, Rodri.
Uh,
First, if whenever you're gonna be settled with the new business, as a reality in retail, because you're also a retail reality, would you work with a style consultant? Do you think it could be like an advantage for your client to kind of have the possibility to experience a very, very well tailored experience, also about colors, like about body shapes, about facial shapes? They are going to influence the shapes of the blazer, the shapes of, I mean, we know that now, but do you think it could be a great value for a reality like yours? And there is a
Of course, because the knowledge of from the style consultant is a huge in
so
compare
you would
knowledge of a
consider it then.
client.
So
So
we'll see you again.
of course, I will do. Yeah, of course. We need to talk
I
with
need to be
Maria,
approved.
but of course we are more than we are more than available because we understand the customer needs some help. Of course, we are trying to do that, but you say that, or I'm saying that, like we don't have a lot of time to study the body,
You go more by
to
heart.
create some palette color. We are making because we have like a lot of hours, spending a lot of hours with the clients. Is the same way for the illustration. Of course, maybe with a how can I say, laptop meeting, but in the other business we are making
More
in
by
our
person.
studio. So we are spending a lot of time and a lot of hours to try
To guide
to
the
help.
client.
We are helping exactly to guide the client with a different kind of things and small details who they
So
doesn't know, but we
it will
know,
be helpful to
and it's
have someone
important
who's
because
coming to you and say, listen, this client is like that, it's like this, and he likes this, and it's gonna be, fitting best with these kind of proportions. It can facilitate the job, right? So I'll see
of
you
course,
soon in Madrid now, right?
of course. In Madrid,
Okay.
exactly. Well, we are in between Madrid and Alicante. It's depending of the week, but yeah. Now I'm in Alicante, for
Okay.
example, today, but some weeks we are in Madrid. So we miss Amsterdam, but of course we are enjoying the Spanish cities.
I mean, you're traveling all around the world and in different cities and in different. Did it have an impact to your job in the tailor and in the illustrator?
Of course, of course, of course. If we had the same
Oh
example of
yeah.
the black colors, I can say the same with the patterns or with the style. Um, I I remember when I arrived Amsterdam and I was like, because for me Amsterdam is like, it's not New York, but it's like this
A, a
the small
melting
New
pot, a
York in
melting pot of
Europe
people,
in terms of style.
melting pot.
Exactly. Of course, it's not New York, exactly. But when I go to Italy, when I go to London or even Paris, I mean,
Sense.
I can see their vase because, of course, every Dutch people had the same vase, and then they had different small, how can I say, small
Okay.
tips on their vase. Is the same in Spain. We have like a vase, like a classic vase, and of course, some people have a different tips, but the vase is the same. Maybe the vase is from their parents
Okay.
or their grandparents. In Italy, I think it's the same. You have, I mean, you as an Italian, you have a base, and then of course, some small points will be different, but the Italian
Rodri,
base
there
is
is
the
someone
Italian
who's
base in that
asking
case.
what I have to do for a free
So
gift from Rodrigo. Everyone wants your illustrations.
he can contact me. He can and tell me the
Great.
project he has in mind.
Rodri, so I will meet you at PT Uomo in Florence next week.
For sure.
Yes, and I really
Let's
hope that I'm
make a
gonna
coffee.
meet
Yeah,
also
sure.
your love and your great partner.
For sure. For sure.
It's past by 1 hour now, so we kind of have to go. But I hope we're gonna also be able to speak again about Momo's Tailor and maybe even from Momo's Tailor to show like your signature suit and like the color palettes and like maybe
Sure.
after
Count on it.
summer, like before the 2024. But we're gonna keep in touch to do that. Thank
Perfect.
you for your
Thank you, Benedetta.
availability.
Thank you very
Me
much
too.
for
It
this.
was
I
super
really
easy,
enjoy.
super. I mean, you know how much I love you and I love your work. So it was very, very exciting for me today to have you. Thank you so much, Rodri.
Thank you very much.
We're gonna see each other next week.
Bye bye.
Kisses.
For sure.
Bye bye.
For
Have a
sure.
good night.
Bye bye. Bye bye.